Nick Saban has retired. Yes, Nick Saban, the GOAT, University of Alabama coach, has retired. It was kind of shocking after the season they had. I mean, they made it to the playoffs with a not-so-good team, a rough quarterback at times, although he was affected towards later of the season. It wasn't a Mac Jones. It wasn't a Jalen Hurts. It wasn't a Bryce Young type of quarterback. Nothing against Jalen Milroe. He is absolutely insane, and he's going to be Heisman candidate next year. But they did not make it past Michigan in the semifinals in the playoffs, and they ended up ending a season, although they won the SEC championship against Georgia. It's kind of shocking that Nick Saban is retiring. The world has gone crazy, at least on social media. So what does this all mean? Well, first, I'm going to break down some of Nick Saban's stats as he was a coach at Alabama. So let's run them real fast. 17 seasons with Alabama, 28 seasons total. He has 7 national championship titles, 292 wins, 49 first-round draft picks, 16 straight 10-win seasons, 109 weeks ranked as number 1 in the AP poll. Last but not least, 104 wins versus AP top-ranked teams. Those are crazy numbers. It's just mind-boggling the stats that he was able to achieve throughout the years in the changes of college football. So the fact that he is retiring, it put a dent in college football. And it's going to be interesting to see how next year people are talking about Alabama without Nick Saban. So it's going to be very interesting to see about what that team looks like and whatnot. Now, everyone's all like, oh, Nick Saban should have retired after he won his 8th national championship. He should have ended on a good note. Guys, Nick Saban's totally fine. He's not looking at wins and losses. He ended up beating Kirby Smart in the SEC championship, held him from getting 3 straight titles. Nick Saban is totally fine where he's at. He did not have to win another national championship before he retired. That was not in his mind. His mind was, this is where I'm at. I've had an amazing season, and I'm ready to retire. Question comes down to, and this is what's all over social media. That's kind of what I'm making this video as well. What is next for Alabama? That's the big question. Well, they got to find a coach. They got to find a coach, and they got to find a coach fast. I'm going to name some names who I think should be next coach. There's been a bunch of names and rumors out there. First off, I'm going to say Steve Sarkisian out of Texas. Y'all know I'm a big UT fan. He's not going. He is not going back to Alabama. He's got his own team in Texas. He's going into year 4 after making it to the college football playoffs in year 3. He's got his QB, Quinn Ewers, returning. He's got Arch Manning backup. He's got his running backs. He's got his wide receivers. He's fine. He's getting paid. He's fine. He's not going to Alabama. Now, Dan Lanning also just said today that he's not going to Alabama. He's fine in Oregon. He's got a team out there in Oregon, and he is staying put where he's at. Those 2 names are off. Those 2 names are off the slate. Now, who could be on the slate? Lane Kiffin out of Ole Miss. I feel like if Alabama pays Lane Kiffin what he wants, Lane would go there. I got Kalen DeBoer out of Washington. Amazing coach. Seems like a pretty good recruiter. Michael Penix Jr. Just naming a couple wide receivers they've got. Johnson, the running back, he can recruit. Mike Novell out of Florida State. I think Mike's looking to get out of Florida State just because of the ACC and what happened this past year, going 13-0. And not making the college football playoffs. He's looking to get into a little bit bigger organization, maybe a little bit bigger conference like the SEC in Alabama, and maybe some other NFL coaches that may be a possibility. The only thing with that, I think Bama's looking for a coach now. I think they might even have a coach already, in that they need to solidify something within the next week and a half. Because, guys, the transfer portal is still open. Alabama players still have, I think, 29 days to transfer out of the portal if they want. In fact, we've already seen, who was it? We've already seen 5-star wide receiver Ryan Williams decommit from Alabama. And guys, that happened immediately. I'm just trying to figure it out, who's behind Ryan Williams? Is there a train behind him? They're going to start decommitting. So I think Alabama's going to want to find a head coach fast and keep these commits and start getting on track for the next season. Because next season's big, as we know, all the stuff that's happening with the new conferences, all the teams going into different conferences, as well as the new 12-team playoff, and there's so much going on with next season. Alabama, I mean, obviously they're gonna say their farewells and goodbyes to Nick Saban, but they got a job to go. They got an organization. They got to keep going. Now, with that being said, it's also crazy, so mind-boggling. Pete Carroll, after 17 seasons with Seattle, he's gone. He's done. I don't know if he's done coaching. I haven't looked further into that, but I know he's done at Seattle, so he could be retiring. And then Bill Belichick, 24 seasons with the Patriots. As y'all know, my family's from Boston, big Patriots fan, big Tom Brady fan. Bill Belichick, after 24 seasons with the Patriots, is gone. He's not retired. I don't think he has said he's retired, but he's done. He has parted ways with the Patriots, and who knows what's next for him. But it's just mind-boggling. Two GOATs in Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, plus Pete Carroll, who's a top 10 coach of all time, all just changing, whether retiring or stepping down in like the past 2 days. It's crazy. It's hard to comprehend. So what I want to say about Nick Saban, I believe that this is just like, I mean, Nick Saban's been successful throughout his entire year at Alabama, even before that. But 2009 championship versus Texas, that's when I believe like Nick Saban, he started his journey. He put his foot down and said, we're making a run. We're making a dynasty, because Alabama is now a dynasty because of Nick Saban. And that 09 win over Colt McCoy in Texas, I think that's really what stamped me. And ever since 09, he's always been just like, oh, we got to, like, from a Texas fan, we got to beat Bama. We got to beat Bama. We got to beat Bama. We beat Bama this past year. We beat Nick Saban, and that's really exciting to me. Last year with Nick Saban that we beat him, so that was pretty cool. But 09 is like how I feel like. When I think of Nick Saban, I think of the 09 and on. Now, with that being said, I also want to say NCAA. I think NCAA, the new football game, should put Nick Saban on the cover of their new video game, 2024, 2025, whatever. I think it's going to be 2024. Nick Saban should go on the cover. I think it should be some kind of limited edition. They're bringing back the video game after 10 years. I think the last one was 2014. So now we're at 2024. Nick Saban should be on the cover. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I mean, if you're not going to do Nick Saban, I think you should do all the Heismans from 2014 all the way to this year. I think one or the other would be a great idea. But I'm not against putting Nick Saban up there. Now, for Alabama going the next season, I mean, they're going to have the eyes on them. They're going to have the talk all in the offseason. Once they hire their coach, what will their recruiting class look like next year? What will their season look like next year? What is their team going to look like next year? Within the next, from now until next year, all eyes are going to be on Alabama and just how are they successful as they have been? Are they going to be a team that has 4, 5, 6 losses? Alabama with 6 losses? That's unheard of. But will we see that this year with a new coach? There's so much to talk about, and there's so much what ifs in the future of Alabama that I can make a video every day just on Alabama. And I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to talk about Texas. But we're talking about Alabama today. This is actually the first sports talk show on YouTube. This is my first one, the DuPont show. So welcome if you're brand new. Everyone should be brand new if you're watching the show, but some of y'all are already subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to my YouTube. I'd really appreciate that. We're almost at 20K, so that's really exciting. Drop a like, and any questions or comments that you got, drop them down in the comments below. It's just going to be odd. It's going to be very odd without Nick Saban. I'm not going to talk too much longer about it. It's just going to be odd next season where you're going against Alabama and Nick Saban's not there. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it other than it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same. College football has been around Nick Saban and Alabama organization for the past 10, 15 years. It's run around them. Oh, they're always 1 or 2 or 3. I mean, who knows? It's gonna be very cool. It's gonna be a change, and I'm here for it. So that's all I got for this video. I appreciate y'all watching. There's gonna be updates within the next. I mean, it could be from now today to the next 7 to 10 days. Once there is a brand new coach, I will have another video on the Alabama situation. But until then, make sure y'all subscribe. We're posting videos on the daily, and I appreciate y'all watching. Peace out, Nick Saban. You are awesome to college football, and so I thank you for that, even though you've stolen a national championship or 2 from Texas. Thank you, Nick Saban. So appreciate it, and see y'all in that next video.